Hi
Hi
guys,
guys.
welcome back to Girls and
Guys,
Gossip Podcast hosted by yours truly, Aoife.
I'm Josh.
Let's get it started. I thought we'll do a topic I don't feel like we've spoke much on, but I thought we'd do a whole element on like work life. Because obviously we are spring chickens. We're not, that kind of era of people who,
Love their
what's
work.
the phrase? Live to work, not work to live.
Yeah, that's it.
So I thought, first of all, like we could talk about just like our kind of workloads. Obviously, mine's very all over the gaff for the last couple of years, to be fair, because I've been doing my degree and whatnot. But do you want to go first? Because you're the one in the actual job.
Okie dokie. So, bit of context. I am a corporate girly, 9 to 5. I genuinely think that like I was not born to work. Good start.
Who was?
I was born to be like a wag
Yeah.
or an influencer or a singer. I'm
Or
wasted.
a podcaster.
Yeah. So tune in so we can
Follow
live our
us.
dream job. But like genuinely, right? When I was like in uni, right, or like growing up, I would slate a 9 to 5. I'd be like, no, that's not for me.
Never gonna be me.
No. Now I'm in one. I actually think 9 to 5 is so underrated and such a blessing. I mean, I wouldn't go as far as saying a blessing, but I'm very lucky, right? So I can't really say too much because, I know that people that I work with follow this. So, if you're watching, hello. God forbid my manager tunes in. I work in HR, so I know that there's the booing, but I'm not a bad HR, okay? I'm not Karen HR. I'm a fun HR. I'm not regular HR, I'm a fun HR. It's giving me girls. So I genuinely don't hate it in the sense of like you get your weekends off, like, and I feel like it took a lot of adjusting because where I used to work, so I've only ever worked in like bar work, hospitality, and retail, and then exhibition. That sounds like I'm an exhibitionist. Depends how much you pay me. But like, I used to work like shifts all over the gaff, like start at 11, finish at 6, like all of that, like start at 8, finish at 1, like all of those weird ones, work weekends, right? So it is a big adjustment going to a 9 to 5, but I will honestly say that I will never go back to a job that works weekends again. And I feel like it took a lot of adjusting the early starts, but I actually quite enjoy it. Like, and I think as well, what works for me is I work hybrid. I will never ever be in a job that is not hybrid. I love a work from home girl. Like, so for example, this week I didn't go in the office once. I work from home all 5 days. Like, but I think it's so underrated. Like, and I know a lot of people shit on it, me included, but I feel like when you're in one, I actually think it's all right.
Yeah.
Like, and I think I'm quite lucky in the sense of like, I won't go as far as saying I love my job, but I don't hate it. Like, I quite enjoy it in the sense of like, I like what I do. I get on with 3/4 of the workforce. Obviously, you're not going to get on with everyone. There's a few people that I would smash with a saucepan over the head if I could, you know. But I like the people that I work with, and I feel like the people make up a job.
Yeah, definitely.
It's the people that make it. So I would like to think I'm a little bit fortunate. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I like it. Like I feel like a lot of people shit on 9 to 5, and when you're in one, I feel like you just the body clock immunes to it essentially.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I mean, I enjoy the people that I work with. I get on with my manager, which is rare because I've had some shitty managers in the past, as we all have. God forbid. And yeah, I agree. I do think it is the people that make the job. Like if I worked, and I'm quite lucky because I work in an industry, right, that is primarily like older people. Like a lot of HR departments tend to be your 56-year-old Karens. I work in the majority of the people that I work with are under 30 years old. So, we go on nights out,
chickens.
we go on nights out together. We do stuff out of work together. Like, I've made friends in that job role, not just like work friends, because I've always said this, right? if I call you my work friend, you're not my friend because I'm getting paid to see you. If I see you out of work, then I would class you as a friend. And I
Definitely.
think that colleagues really make up the job. Like I would hate my job if I didn't have the girls that I work with. Put it that way.
I feel like a 9 to 5 gives you structure. Like, you
Yeah,
know how your day is gonna pan out, you know you're starting at this time, you'll have your lunch at this time, you finish at this time, and
yeah,
I feel like it almost makes it easier to plan your own life around, obviously, your work schedule because you know where you're gonna be at what specific time, and I also feel like by working only Monday to Friday, you always know you've got your weekends, and then it's like I feel like you not that you're forced to, but you make more of the time at the weekends because you
yeah,
know that they're your days off. So, like, you're not gonna just sit at home doing nothing because you know that they're your 2 days off, so you make the most of them, which I feel like is a blessing.
yeah,
Obviously, for me, for the last couple of years, I've had various different jobs. Obviously, I worked at McDonald's. I worked there for 6 years, and then and then I had, like, a month at another place, which I won't name because yeah. And then obviously I had a placement year through uni, which is where I worked a 9 to 5. Well, it was more 8 I worked 8 till 5.
yeah.
But it meant that, I got so used to that because I did it for a little over a year whilst I was on the placement. It helped me to adapt to what, real life is gonna be like. Because I do feel like uni versus the real world are 2 completely
Oh,
different
tell me
things, I
about
think,
it.
because you get so comfortable being a student and, working around, you only have to go in on this day and this day for 2-hour lectures, and then that's kind of it, and then you can go home, do whatever you want, obviously doing all your coursework and whatnot. I do feel like there is an element where it's very different, and I feel like the placement year really helped me because it was like this it was giving me kind of a view of what my life is gonna be when I eventually, finish uni and get out of education. But obviously now, alongside uni, I quit my job at McDonald's, and a lot of it was based on, my nan obviously needing the extra care at home. So
Yeah,
obviously I quit to not to be a carer, but just to give her that extra support that, the hours I was wasting at McDonald's, I was doing the same. Like I could have just helped her, and it saved us having to get somebody that, she wasn't gonna know. And I feel like she's more able to accept help from someone that she does know.
of course.
But another part of it was the fact that my old friendship group had all left. So, and those were people that I had genuine friendships with because of COVID, like when you weren't allowed out your houses, obviously my business was well, McDonald's was it stayed open because of the fact it was classed as like essential workers. So it kind of like you kind of built that almost like little family of your own because
Yeah,
it was like your opportunity to get out the house, to get away from your family. But then you went and spent your time with your friends, which was great for me, honestly, because I still got to see my friends. I was having a hoot of a time. And it's not like we were that busy because people didn't want to come out their
yeah,
houses. But I do feel like a 9 to 5 for me, definitely, I agree, is 100% where I wanna go with that, like, I'm someone like I wouldn't be thinking about work once I've left work,
absolutely not.
but obviously, the industry I'd be going into, my kind of hours are gonna look more like 7 till 6, not 9 till 5,
Yeah,
which, is you've gotta do it
the
to get
paycheck's worth
yourself up, it is worth
it.
it.
Yeah, drinks on you.
Yeah,
But no, I completely and utterly agree. I think that like I'm gonna be completely honest, like working in like retail, like obviously I've worked in retail primarily before corporate girly. You've worked in hospitality. Do you call McDonald's hospitality?
yeah, you do.
Yeah. Like I
Nothing
not that
hospitable about
yeah, not that a lot of the workers are
I
hospital,
was
hospital, hospitality based.
driven.
Yeah, that's the word
I
I was
was.
looking for. Um, but like I honestly, compared to like retail, like you said, the structure is something that is so underrated, and honestly, no one talks about it enough. And I feel like for me, when I first started working in retail, I actually, this is so weird, I think, but I would go home more caring or thinking about what I did when I worked in retail more than what I do now. Because, for example, like getting stressed over money on the till, oh my God, is my till down? I honestly, and having to deal with customers on a daily basis. And it's like, I don't know how to word this without offending people that work in retail full time, but because it never felt like a full time job, my head was never in it.
Yeah, especially when you're working part-time, you're with your friends, you're
Yeah,
young, like,
it's a laugh,
you
and
ju
it
it's just
like
for a bit of extra pocket money, do you
yeah,
know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
that's what it
but
was for me. Like, I started my job from the age of 16. Like, I was
yeah,
very much the minute I got my national insurance through the door, mum was like, "Right, you need to go out and get
yeah,
yourself an actual
exactly
job, get
same.
yourself some money." And then it became like, once I'd got my job, it then everything that I wanted, I had to buy myself. Mum would cover things like the bills and like
Mm,
food and whatnot, but if I wanted new clothes, like any electronic sort of stuff, I had to buy that myself because I was making up the money. And then with furlough, I was raking
you're
in the money.
balling, yeah,
But it then became very much like that. Obviously, like, I got my car for my 18th, and then obviously my family bought me the car, so I was very lucky that, I wasn't having to pay for that. And then the way we all kinda do it is like, parents pay for your first year of insurance, and then after that,
you're
it's
on your
down to
own.
you. So my money went, like, towards my petrol, my tax, and all that. But it was very much like, if I wanted it, I paid for it because I was making that money. And
Yeah,
mum would never have dreamt of asking me for that money because, at that age, I was going out there to make pocket money basically. So she was like, "I'm not gonna ask you for that money." She said, "As and when you get a job, like when I obviously finish uni and get a job, she'll then ask me for rent and stuff like that."
yeah.
I am very lucky.
My parents were the exact same. Like I first started working at 15 in a bar, now like burnt down, RIP. Um, Serving pints from the age of like 16, that was illegal. Cash in hand, also illegal. But like, I honestly, on the surface, like at the time, my parents would drag me there kicking and screaming because it's like I was 15, and what year were you in? Like year 10?
I think so,
I
yeah,
think it's
because you
year
leave
10,
at
and it,
16, don't you?
yeah,
Yeah. Because I was like, by the end of year 11, I was 16 turning 7, like, I was
yeah,
about to turn 17 in the
yeah.
following September.
So, like, at that age, I hated it because I would work on a Friday and a Saturday night. So I was missing out on house parties and all of this that people did. I mean, I'd still go after work, to be fair. But, like, what is that?
I think it's a blame.
Oh, so I, oh my God, I lost my train of thought. That was it. Like, I worked in a bar, and honestly, looking back, I've never been more grateful than my parents. Like, I don't think that I bought every single pair of, for example, trainers since I was 15. And like I would never, ever, ever regret my parents ever forcing me to
No,
do that.
same.
And then like obviously since then worked in retail up until then. But I honestly think working in retail, everybody needs to experience it because it is such character building, like retail or hospitality. Everyone needs that part-time job because it is the biggest character building and the biggest form of like people skills and restraint to not punch somebody in the face ever. I honestly think, and dealing with like, and that includes dealing with managers because I honestly the worst managers work in retail hospitality. I'm telling you now, I am so curious to hear your worst manager story. It is unbelievable. I need to hear it.
My worst one, now, I'm not gonna name the place where it was, but it
Hmm.
was a supermarket, and off the back of the way this manager spoke to me, this is why I only stayed a month.
Yeah,
And I then went running back to McDonald's because I thought, "You know what? At
as you
least
should.
they would never talk to me the way that this bloke spoke to me." So there was an occasion where basically the role I was given, based on the role I had at McDonald's, they assumed that I was like manager level, and I was like, "I'm not." But because of the title I had at McDonald's of crew trainer, they just assumed that I was the higher end. I thought, "I'm really not." I
Yeah,
thought, "I'm not going to tell them that." So they hired me, and I went in at basically a manager's role. But because I'd never worked, it's not like I worked my way up at this supermarket. Didn't know how the tills worked. Didn't know I had to cash up and put stuff in the safe. I was like, "How the hell am I doing that?" All of these different things that my first week, obviously, I had someone else who was the same role as me, with me at all times. And then at the second week, they were just leaving me on my lonesome, and I thought, guys, this shop will probably go up in flames if
yeah,
you leave me on my own. And there'd been a delivery or something, and I had to go into the back to go and collect this delivery for the customer that had arrived. So I went into the back, and when you need to open, I needed to open up the big shutter in the back bit because I needed like a cardboard box to put the stuff into, and they put them outside. And for the life of me, again, I've never been in that place before. I didn't know how to open the shutter. So I asked the warehouse manager, like, oh, could you open this for me? As like I don't know where it is. And he turned around and went, it's literally right there. It's that big red button on the wall. And I said, I was like, okay, it was just a question. There was no need for
Yeah.
that kind of attitude. And he said, well, it doesn't take a lot of brain cells. He said, clearly you're not smart. And I turned around and said, actually, I said, I'm literally doing my degree. And he went, what? Let me guess, in health and social care.
I would deck the
I
fuck
turned around
out.
and went, no, sweetheart, actually in civil engineering, but your brain probably can't comprehend that. And then I very quickly left because I thought, how dare he? Not only is that sexist, but that is so like demeaning on me. I
Yeah.
thought, the cheek of you. I said, you're literally a warehouse manager.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry.
Of course,
And
as a man,
this bloke was about 50 years of age as well. And I thought,
I
because
can
you've
imagine
done
what it looked
wonders
like.
with life.
Yeah. Oh my God. Of course, it was a man and all. It's always a man.
I thought,
Honestly.
you know, when you just like, you're expecting to like see a camera recording to be like, no, there's no
this is a
way that
practical joke.
this is a joke. I was literally like, what is going on? Am I being pranked?
Yeah, that is mad. Honestly,
The cheek of it, I was like,
I think I'd throw, like, I'm not a violent person, but
well, you can imagine I'd really
oh,
help.
you of all people. I'd have got a fucking baguette and shoved it where the sun didn't shine. I'd have whacked him with it. Honestly, my worst manager story. Do you know what? I hope this woman has a steaming hot pillow both sides of the rest of her life. I hope she stubs her toe on every door she walks past. So when I worked at the card factory, yeah, I'm Laming and Showman, the manager there, the way I kind of like compare what she was like a 4'10" demon who looked like Bart Simpson. And she was this like short, red-haired woman. I cannot stand her. And she was just, do you know what? You know how it's short man syndrome?
Yeah.
This was short woman syndrome. I couldn't stand her. She was so rude, and it honestly came to blows. I bit my tongue, and this one day I just exploded at her. I don't know where it come. And the reason why is because I was doing team leader roles. I was like cashing up. I had the keys, right? I wasn't even qualified. If the area manager knew, she would have got the sack. So now I'm reflecting on which I passed her up. Not even worth it for the extra 25p an hour. So the one day I was doing my driving test, and I let her know, bearing in mind, when I did my driving test, it was just after COVID. Now, because we did it around the same time, how difficult it was to get a test. Also, this is my second one, even though I shouldn't have had the first one. Fuck you, Lisa.
Yeah.
That driving instructor.
None of us like Lisa.
Vile. Right. I managed to get a last minute booking, but it was like a week before. So it weren't, in my opinion, that's not last minute. Like, I gave you a week's notice.
Yeah.
So I let her know. I was like, listen, I can't come in on Friday. I've got my driving test. She was like, when is it? I was like, 7:45 in the morning. I was meant to start at 8. She was like, well, can you not just come in after? I went, well, no. I was like, because if I fail, I'm not going on that hill and giving customer service, God forbid. And if I pass, I want to be out celebrating. So whichever outcome it is, no. Bear in mind, I did like 40 hours overtime whilst doing like uni to help with her. And I was working at an attraction in Birmingham at the time. So there was a bit of crossover there. She was like, well, I want to see proof. And I flat out was like, no, I'm not showing you proof. I don't need to prove to you that I'm doing it. I'm on a 0-hour contract anyway. I don't owe you jack. So anyway, didn't go in, did my driving test. And she was like, okay, I suppose that you can like do another shift. I went on. She then put me down on the rotor for 12 till 4. What is the fucking point? Respectfully, what is the point? She then grasped me up to the area manager. So I got a call off the area manager the day before my test. But anyway, you can already imagine, I'm already stressed enough as it is. She was like, you're going to have to go in because they're short staffed. And I was like, respectfully, no, I'm not doing it. I was like, you give me double pay and I'll go in. The area manager agreed. The only reason I went in is because she gave me double pay because I was like, that's the only reason I'm going in. I physically remember I went in, I passed my driving test. I went in on the 12th. She went, so what was the outcome then? I went, I passed. You'll be glad to know, like sarcastically. She was like, have you got your certificate? I went, "I beg your pardon?" I went, "No, I don't just carry my certificate around like it's a, like, sunflower
Piece of
lanyard."
ID.
Yeah, "It's not a sunflower lanyard, like, I don't need to wear it around me, like, do you know what I mean?" She went, "Wow, have you got a photo of it?" She was like, "I wanna see proof that you've passed and that you've done your driving test." At that moment, I just saw red. I thought, "You ruined." I was so dramatic. I
Ruined
was
my
like, "You've
day.
ruined my day with my driving test." Like, all of this. Do you know what I said to her? She's so embarrassing on reflection. I went, "And not just that, I only gone down the weekend and brought out a song today. This is meant to be the best day of my life, and you've ruined it." On reflection, probably shouldn't have said that, you know? That's a big thing to me if you know me, right? So that is my mum and dad. So then, like, she literally turned around and was like, "Oh wow, to be fair, it's a good job that you've passed your driving test because now you can come and do more shifts." I was like, "Absolutely not."
No way.
Bear in mind, at the time, I was subconsciously like, I've got another job, love. I could have my notice in like that, like, you know, which I did. And then she turned around and she was literally like, "Well, at least we know that you weren't bullshitting us the whole time. At least we know for once you're not." I went, "What do you mean for once? What do you mean for once?" At that point, I saw red. Honestly, that woman can stub her toe. She tried to ruin the day I passed my driving test. So what did I do? I went out on the lash to celebrate and forget all about it. Fuck it. But I think retail managers have got the biggest ego and they
A
need to be brought
hundred
down the
percent.
biggest peg ever.
And you know what? It's always the ones who ask you why you need time off. I'm thinking, there's no law that says I have to tell you why I need time off.
Thank
If
you.
I'm doing it in the time frame that I'm allowed and there's nobody else who's got time off, why is it
Yeah.
any of your business that I need time off?
It's
Why am I having
always
to explain myself?
it's always the ones that come in on their day off as well.
Oh,
Get a life, Janice. Oh my God. Right, her name's not Janice, I just want to stress that. But like, get a life. Why are you coming in on your day off? It's like they live and breathe
the
the
card
card
factory.
factory. Get a grip, love. It's not that deep, honestly.
I thought as a next one, since obviously we've spoke about the fact that, I have a civil engineering degree. I thought, that's kind of a very male predominant industry. And I thought, obviously, I'll talk like my experience of working in a male industry. And you know what? It's one of them, like, I feel like because I'm female, going into that industry, I feel like I'm already having to prove myself the minute I walk through the door. It's not like you get into the swing of things, you feel comfortable, and then you start to prove yourself. I feel like just because I walk in and I'm female, I'm already having to prove myself that I'm competent enough to do my job. And I feel like, there's a lot of what's the word? Is it stigma
Yeah,
around, I was very lucky when I went on placement. The team I ended up in, I was the only female. But the team I ended up in, there was a mix of age groups amongst the site guys. Some of them were young, some of them were older, and then the older ones, they had daughters that were the same age as me, so they very much see me as like a kind of like a
a work
child. They kept me
daughter.
under their wing and stuff like that. So I was very lucky, but obviously I had to pre-prepare myself to go into this job because they were like, if they ask you to do this, if they ask you to do this, like they're not real. Like if they ask you to go and get tartan paint, that's not a thing, so don't fall for it type
Yeah,
of thing. But I do feel like there is an element where, I have to balance being nice to being taken seriously because obviously I'm a very mouthy
person, you know.
person. And if I think something's not right, I am the first person to say something. But in that world, you do almost have to bite your tongue a little bit because they're not going to take you seriously, or it's that kind of element of like you can't be too quiet, you can't be too loud type of
That
thing. And it's like
balance.
if a man was to do it, that's confidence, but if I was to do it, it's attitude. And I do think that's something that in the back of my mind I'm constantly, so not a lot alongside having to do my actual job, I'm also then having to think about how I'm going to operate certain situations because of the fact that I'm female. And obviously in some ways it does work in my favor because companies want more female engineers. So
Equality, yeah.
obviously if like I went for like an interview and there's six of us and I was only female, that already boosts my chances of getting the job because of the fact I'm thinking, oh, well, we want someone. And I do feel like in my placement, I got asked to go for an interview. Like a lot of the people that I went to uni with were doing the same placement. They had to do aptitude tests. They have to do like a video
What's
interview
that?
first. It's like a behavioural one. So it's like you see like patterns and you have to pick which one's the next one in the sequence. And by doing that, it can like calculate your problem solving skills, or
Right,
it'd give you scenario with like multiple choice, like what would you do in this scenario type of thing, and that's an aptitude test. So it's like an online quiz type of thing,
right.
but you have to do a few of them, and then they had to do video interviews, which is where like a robot asked them questions and then they answered it in a video, and then someone in the careers team would have reviewed it. Whereas I got asked straight to the final point, which was the interview point, and they contacted me. I never even applied for this placement, and I obviously got the job there and then I started 2 weeks later, so it was very much, I think they probably looked at their range of undergrads and maybe there wasn't enough females, so they're like, "Right, we need another one."
Yeah,
So, I do feel like it is kind of it's difficult, it definitely is difficult, because I feel like when you go into a job, you know, where it's a split of 50-50 male and female, like it's a bit like teaching. It's like you in most schools, you do have a 50-50 split now of, like, male and female teachers, and I feel like that's fine. But I feel like, obviously, it's quite intimidating going in, and I'm, like, literally 5 foot nothing as well, so it's like that really doesn't help towards
yeah,
my life, because it's just then it's like, are they gonna take the piss out of me? Are they gonna take me seriously? I think that's the biggest thing for me. Obviously, I'm sitting there and I'm like, I wanna eventually go into, like, a leadership role, management role.
of
And it's then
course.
it's like, well, are they going to take me seriously or not? Do you know what I mean? Like, you never know how someone's going to take it. And the fact that you're the only female, you do feel quite isolated. I feel like on my side, they had to make sure they got like a female toilet. There had to be a female changing room. They had to get so many things just for one person because they had no other females and they didn't have to do this before. But I was very lucky, so I can appreciate that. And I had a really good relationship with the site team. They never took the piss out of me unless it was like we were taking the piss out of each other. And they never kind of there was never a stupid question. I could ask as many questions as I wanted. They'd never be like, "Oh, that's a stupid
Yeah.
question. Why do you ask me that?"
I think
So
it's good though, because I think what you're doing is essentially like, what's it called? Like breaking the glass ceiling, like breaking the fourth wall, as they say. Ether's the like trendsetter. Clock it. But like, I honestly think that like what you're doing is so like brave and like a fuck you, because at the end of the day, we work in an environment now where like it doesn't matter what gender you are. If you can do the job, you can do the job. Like it really, really doesn't matter. And I think that, bit of an unpopular opinion, every workplace now, and like you said, like they wanted a female and stuff like that. How do you feel about that though, like working in a men's field? Because do you feel like, oh, I'd rather actually get the job because I'm good enough for the job? Or would you rather be like, well, I'm a woman, so like
I feel
I'm
like
glad they're doing that?
it's one of them where it's really 50-50 because I feel like, you know what, not that lucky that I'm a woman because I have to do it so much now. But it's that kind of imposter syndrome. So it's like
Yeah.
I almost feel like there's a certain aspect, like, if I walked into the room after they've offered me a job and see I'm the only female, I'm sitting there like, have I actually earned that, or are you just
Yeah.
doing it because you need a female? Like that, and that's the kind of thing. But that's where like that like almost reinforces the whole idea that I'm already having to prove myself because clearly if they'd hired me because I was a female and not based on the skills and the, you know, everything that I had else going on, I'm then having to prove that I deserve to be there. And that's the difficult part
Yeah.
for me, I find is, you know, kind of trying to break through that mold of, oh, this is a men's industry, like da 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 da. So I feel like even when I speak to people that are like, what do you do? And I'm like, I'm a student. And it's like I almost dread them asking me what I do because I'm like, you can see in someone's face, they're like, do you know, I'm like when
They
I
don't
say to them, they're
expect you
like,
to say
what?
it.
And then when I'm like, oh, I'm doing civil engineering, and then I was like, I'm doing a master's in construction management, and they're like, what?
They expect you to
They're
do
like,
health and
they
social.
yeah. Yeah, they expect me to be doing a female one, which is
Duh.
wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I sit there and it's like I almost dread the question because I dread how someone's gonna take it. They're gonna be like, they're gonna think, what the fuck, like
Of
take the piss a
course.
bit, or if they're gonna be like, oh, fair play, like you never know. It can be. I've had both,
Yeah,
and
it's
that's
one
where
or
it
it.
is really difficult. And I feel like at the minute, obviously, I don't know if you've watched it, but I just watched that Louis Theroux. manosphere thing, and
I
it
think
is
we're gonna have to do a separate episode on
absolutely
that.
vile.
Jesus Christ,
But
the
that's why I was
rage
sitting there
baiting.
thinking, like, because in the world, specifically in like for engineering, I would get paid less because I'm a female. So, there could be someone else who's doing the same job as me, be doing it 50% less what I'm doing, and they would still get paid more because they're a man. So it's like I very much like if I get a contract for something, my auntie's like, you need to be asking because it's a graduate role. You need to be asking for upper scale because you have experience
1
and you
million
have the.
percent.
So that's where you need to be getting the upper scale. If they try and offer you the lower end, but yet they've hired someone who's coming straight out of uni and never had any experience, you're already in a better position than them, so you need to be asking for higher. My auntie's she's very high up in the
Very,
corporate
very
world.
smart woman. I agree. Like, I think though as well, like, say for example, if I was to walk into like a meeting room and not see a woman or not see like a woman in charge, I would genuinely feel so like uncomfortable. And I agree with you. Like, go for the leadership roles, break the fucking barriers. Like, and I'm going to be honest, all of the best managers I've ever had are women. I've never actually had a good manager.
They know how to communicate as well, which is
Exactly.
why they end up being such good
I've
managers.
not had one good man manager. My last man manager hit on me, said that's great. But like, I agree. Like, I think that when it's like women working in men's fields, I always think of like, okay, a bit of a niche reference, but like, I always think of like Karen Brady. Do you know what I'm on about? The woman on The Apprentice.
Oh yeah.
She obviously was the manager, no, not manager. She was like CEO of Blues at one point. And now you're seeing more and more women in that industry. You're going to be the Karen Brady of civil engineering. Love it!
Stay tuned,
If it's on The
guys.
Apprentice. So, like,
It'll be Lord no. What's it for a woman? Lady.
Baroness
Cullen. It won't
Yeah,
be
Baroness
it won't be
Cullen.
Lord Sugar anymore.
Yeah, it's
Move
Baroness
over,
Cullen,
mate.
guys. I'm taking it. But I agree. I think that, like, if you can do the job, it doesn't fucking matter what sexuality, what skin color, what gender. Like, at the end of the day, you're there to work. Like, have a laugh, have fun, have banter. Don't take it too seriously. But also, like, you work in a job where you need to be
But
serious.
it's like when they ask all those questions on the thing, I'm like, what difference does that make?
Oh,
I
cannot
don't get
stand
it.
that.
I'm
like,
like, but why is that making any sort of a difference?
what does it matter what religion I am? Respectfully. Respectfully.
That's nothing to do with you. Like, why does that matter?
So, like, do you know what? Have a laugh. But the moral of the story is you pay to do a job.
Yeah.
And, like,
and I will be going in and bossing all the men round.
As you should, if we vlog it for the pod.
I'll get the. You know what? I keep thinking. I was like, we need to get those glasses that have the cameras. Could you imagine how many things we capture?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Well, stay
We
tuned.
could set up our own reality TV.
We're gonna get all of Aoife's college, just men on the pod. Stay tuned.
I thought then, as a last one, seeing as we are spring chickens, is our Gen Z working mindset. Because I know, like, obviously speaking to my mum and my family members who have, are older than me and have been in jobs way longer than me, I can see the fact that we all have different mindsets on life. Like, I very much, the minute I get home from work, best believe I'm not thinking about work. I'm not doing work. If I've got a shit ton of work to do, I will still go in and do it tomorrow. I'm not doing it at home because I'm not being paid to do it at home.
Yeah.
The minute it turns 5 o'clock, I'm already packed up. I'm out the door by 5 o'clock. Do you know what I mean? I'm packing up at 10 to 5. But it's very much like, unless I'm getting paid overtime, why should I be staying to do more work when I could just do it tomorrow?
Oh, yeah. I know a lot of people, like when I talk to like my grandparents and my parents, they're very much like Gen Z. They just do not care. Like, they've got no work attitude. And I'm like, I disagree. Like, we're just like breaking the work cycle that people that are older than us get stuck in. Like, we're not tolerating it anymore. And I think, honestly, good for us. Like, because I'm with you, like, for example, right, I'm currently doing a course alongside my job. Yeah, work paying for it. It costs $4,000. They're paying for it, as they should.
May as well.
Right? I refuse to do that outside of work. Unless I'm getting paid for it. You want me to get that course, you want me to do that qualification, you're paying for it. Yeah, I'm going to do it in work time.
Yeah, best.
Tough. Because I'm with you. Like, what is that phrase you said at the start of the episode? Like, what? We
It's that work-life
work to live.
balance, work
Yeah, we
yeah,
work to live, not live to work. And I think that, like, at the end of the day, the reason I'm here is to pay my bills and to pay for my concerts and holidays. Clock
your
it.
for your concert.
Definitely the concerts.
But I,
Like,
but I feel like there's that kind of thing where we're kind of adapting the way that people see working, and we're setting boundaries to be like, you
agreed.
know what, like not answering your emails all the time or not picking up your phone all the time. When you're at home, I am not answering an email or a phone call from work because you know what, I've zenned out. I've took my drive home. I'm checked out of work now. Like I'm not thinking about it.
Yeah,
That's my time.
yeah.
I'm not being paid to waste my time
Hmm.
just because you need an email responded to. I'll be like, if it's that urgent, I'll respond to it in the morning.
Yeah,
Or you should have sent it
exactly.
earlier.
Exactly. I think as well, like, I think the reason, like, we need to, like, recharge. And I'm not going to give you the best if you want me to constantly keep working.
one Hundred
And I
percent.
think that for me, obviously, I can only speak about the industry that I work in, and my job they are good at that. Like, they're very much like, you're done when you're done. It will get done eventually, unless it's urgent. They'll ask someone else in the team to pick it up and that. However, I'm, and I think as well, like, I don't know about you, but I think as well, like, we're not tolerating bullshit from managers as much anymore, because I've always said this growing up in work, like, respect is a two-way thing, and I will do stuff for you if you respect me. I'm not going to respect you because you're higher up on the food chain. Why should I respect you? Because, put it this way, if you spoke to me that like that outside of work, best believe I'm not tolerating it. I will come back at you. And I feel like a lot of Gen Z are like breaking that barrier. And I think that that is why a lot of companies now, and I am going to give us all credit, that we are essentially like having a better work life balance because companies are acknowledging that Gen Z are not tolerating it anymore. And I think that that's why, like, hybrid working is a much bigger thing
Yeah,
now. When,
definitely.
they have like mental health schemes and they care a lot more about staff because of the fact that Gen Z are not falling into the trap that our parents probably fell into and our grandparents. So I honestly think that we've broke the barrier. Do you know what I mean?
So I think for me, like I refuse to let my job be my whole personality. Like
Oh, there's
I
nothing
feel I
worse.
feel like older generations see us as like being lazy or
Hmm.
whatnot, and I'm like, no, we're just not letting like jobs control us. Like you've got to see where work ends and life starts, and then where life ends. Not
Agreed.
well, not like that,
Agreed.
but kind of like your like socializing sort of stuff. That kind of and then it's work time. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like for me, I'm very much that because I respect the hours that I do my work, I am dead focused in those hours. So it's like you can come to me in those hours and I will be hot on it. I will do what needs to be done. I'll get my work finished because I know I don't want to be doing it at home and I don't want to have to leave it till tomorrow. I'll
Yeah,
get what I need to get done. And it's not like I'm going in, getting easily distracted, not doing any work, and then doing nothing at home. Like the hours that I am there, I'm putting in 110% effort. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah,
that's where it's like I feel like that's the kind of Gen Z approach. It's like, well, the hours that we are being paid for, like we do put in the graft and we do the work. So it's not like we're being lazy because we are doing all the work. It's just that we can appreciate, time management in the day when you're at work. If you do all of the things you need to get done, your time management, then when you get home, you don't need to think about it. And I feel like that's the kind of outlook that I feel like the older generations don't have in that, they might say, "Oh, let's do this and I'll go have an hour lunch or whatever." Me, I would sit and eat my lunch at my desk and be still doing work. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm like, then I don't have to worry about when I get home. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to be then eating my dinner trying to do work.
yeah. Can't relate. I take an hour and I should have half an hour. But I'm joking. But I 100% agree. I think that at the end of the day, like, in the industry that I work in, like, I get what I need to get done, and therefore you can't complain. You can't complain if I clock off like when bang on 5 o'clock I'm out the building, because at the end of the day, regardless of what people like to say, we're there for one thing. We wouldn't be there if we didn't get paid for it. So at the end of the day, I'm not going to do something if I'm not getting bloody paid for it. And that's the whole reason why we're there. Like, if you enjoy your job, good for you. Like, honestly, good for you, because you're there a long fucking time. But for me, we're all there because we're getting paid to do it. So don't expect me. And half the time, management don't do it. So why should we? Like, I think it's that
Exactly.
tolerance of respect works both ways, but also so does work ethic. I've worked in organisations where management will tell you what to do and then sit on their phone for 2 hours and not do jack. And I feel like our generation are like, no, if you're going to work overtime and get paid for it, I will do it. But if you're not going to do it, you're going to sit on your ass like most managers do. Not my
We're doing it.
manager, love her. That's so kiss arsey ill. But like, I think that my managers, they work, like they actually work hard. And so I work hard because there's that mutual work ethic. Do you know what I mean? And it's like my manager will clock off when she needs to because she's got the same ethic as me and vice versa.
Yeah,
And I think
100%.
that because of what Gen Z, and I am going to yet again give us credit, because of what we've incorporated in the workplace, it works that way now and it works. And that's why I think people are trusted to work from home. People are trusted to like go on these like mental health courses, and workplaces value that more now. Whereas in the past, obviously they didn't. So I think that honestly, I think Gen Z is good for the environment, like the workplace. I
So do
really
I.
do. Like if I was to walk into a workplace with no Gen Z, I'd be really
I think
startled.
it gives you that fresh approach. Like
I
you do
agree.
need to see that fresh approach to be like, life doesn't like your work life does not
Yeah.
consume your whole
But I
life.
think that where I work, a lot of the older generation are now buying into what we're doing
Because
because
they can see that that's the way they should be going.
exactly they've missed out on all this. Like, because like I said, like a lot of the people that I work with are Gen Z, they are younger. So a few of the older lot are looking down and being like, actually, that's normal. Like that's what I should be doing. And I think it's healthy. And that's why I think that where I work in particular, there is that good workplace environment because you've got Gen Z essentially like being the lead on how we should be working. So do you know what? To all the Gen Z, I'm like, fuck it. Apart from the Gen Zs that work at Macdy's and are too fucking lazy to bring the food out, I'm still beefy over that. Right. So I think it's come to that point in the episode where our song of the episode, we did discuss this before. We did have a bit of a issue because we both did the same song.
It's right, I changed mine now.
What
Voice.
cream? Yeah, because a guy's got to pick Fifth Harmony. Come on. You know, I'll allow it. So in honor of
You'll allow it.
I'll allow
I'll
it.
allow it.
You know, in honor of work and me being a hybrid working girly, I'm picking Work from Home by Fifth Harmony.
And I'm gonna go with Work by the one and only Bad Gal Riri.
Yeah.
I feel like that is a staple song. So whether you're climbing the career ladder or just trying to survive your day, just know we're all winging it and work doesn't need to be serious, and why should we? We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.